Hello everyone and welcome to Moogle Go Around Radio episode 132. We're getting close to the 150, I'm scared, Paul.
150 in Endwalker at some point.
Yeah, it'll be I'm scared. Scary.
Why? Was there like a dark prophecy that at episode 150?
And on the 150th episode, the skies will darken.
Well, I was going to introduce our guest in a minute with like cool intros, but I guess
they were made their own intros.
Yeah, we
introduce ourselves by spewing like mad prophecies up in here.
Yeah, we kicked the door down and just came in to introduce ourselves. Sorry about that. Not very polite, I realize.
It's fine. I guess we'll do it now. I want to say, if you want to see some amazing lore videos and other different types of videos from the media tour, which happened last month, I want to say go check out one of our guests, Bird of Chest's videos over on her YouTube channel and on Twitch. Hey.
How's it going? Thank you so much. Thanks. Oh my gosh, I hearing you say like a month ago was the media tour was absolutely a surreal experience because I feel like I still am recovering. I'm sure all of you as well, recovering from the media tour. It feels like it was like last week.
I'm like looking at the calendar. I was like, holy shit, has it really been that long?
I mean, it almost
I
has.
Look at time. I just guessed about a month.
But
a month, isn't it?
But thank you, Chili. Yeah, I was so glad to get to go this year and to be able to create some more videos for it. You can find them, yes, on YouTube. And then we also did some coverage over on Twitch, where you can find me playing Final Fantasy XIV and Guild Wars 2 primarily. But I love talking about games. I love especially MMOs. They are my big passion. Though I do also play a lot of RPGs, JRPGs, and I'm really excited to be back with everybody. Also, just as a little note, I actually do have a rebrand coming up next week. So soon I won't be Bird of Chess.
Oh, it's finally happening.
It's finally happening. I will be Rookuri, so Rookuri in the future, just so everybody knows.
Good, because last time I tried to talk about the fact that we had you on as a guest, I accidentally called you Bird of Chest by accident. Sorry.
It literally happens to every person. I was at a convention this past weekend. People were like, oh, what's your name on Twitch? And I was like, Bird of Chest. And they were like, Chest? Okay, cool. And they're like, oh, it's not coming up. And I was like the board game? Chess? Board game? Chess?
Oh, so you play chess? No!
Yes, so there are many reasons why the rebrand is happening, and those are two of them.
Yep.
Well, I'm happy to hear about the rebranding. And, well, if you want good Final Fantasy XIV information and you want all the tooltips in a lovely manner, because it was probably one of the best ways to look them up, in my opinion, Fusionx from Gamerscape.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I did not do the tooltips. That was all Zen.
You did all of them.
I did all the videos. Those took just as much time to sift through all of the hours of footage and everything that we had to try and make it somewhat cohesive. But yeah, we do Aetheryte Radio every Saturday at noon Pacific time, talking about whatever. We have the site, the wiki. Soon we'll have a new site. I've like literally been bug testing it the last couple of days. So
I love that Fusion. I love that you're just like, yeah, we like do a podcast, whatever. We just talk about, I don't know, like anything. It's Final Fantasy XIV podcast, and we do talk about good stuff on there. I want to hype up our podcast.
Yeah, hype it up.
I mean, look, is the focus Final Fantasy XIV? Yes. Did we spend probably at least a good 10 minutes last episode talking about random MCU bullshit? Also, yes.
I mean, we spent about half an hour on here talking about fucking food, so I know.
There you go.
You don't want to know what happened in the
one of our
episode.
And one of our plans for before Endwalker, we have to shift some stuff because of that live letter, right? But we were going to do an entire episode about food. So, I mean,
I mean, like, what kind of raid food? Like, is there going to be, like, cool raid food? What's Reaper going to eat? Are they just going to eat, like, void tacos? Like,
yeah, Reaper, as part of their lore, they were farmers previously, we know that. But they had to, when they made this dark pact, actually give up all foods of the earth. Or the Hydaelyn, I guess, in this sense, that's the Earth equivalent.
I'm feeling gassy just thinking about the idea of void tacos. Like, I feel like that wouldn't go down well.
Bit of void squid,
Why will this command not work? I hate you, Streamlabs OBS.
Because the bot is not there. The bot has disappeared. The bot has gone to sleep.
Damn it.
I don't know why. I haven't.
The bot
touched
went to
anything.
get void tacos.
I literally just opened.
Well, you know what? I have the thing open. I'll just copy and paste the statement. There we go.
This statement, it sounds like it's a lawyer thing. Oh, yeah, it's good.
Here's the disclaimer: we are not liable for anything
that Fusion or Rook say today on this podcast.
Look, I just wanted to promote all your wonderful channels. So,
Well, we appreciate it.
But the bot said nay.
Well,
Where
you know
was
what? The bot's a jerk.
yeah,
Screw the bot.
We were talking about bots
do it live.
earlier. So, Transformers will be an Endwalker.
Oh gosh, that's
mean-
the topic today. Wow, I did not get enough lore to back up this theory. Sure. Give me a second. I'm gonna Google. No.
I mean, I know if the diamond weapons or anything, we may see some Transformer if Sid's there.
We saw that Omega looking weapon, didn't we? In the job
Yeah.
action.
We did.
Some kind of Omega.
I was very excited by that. I loved the designs of Omega and MF, and gosh, Alpha's got to show up somewhere. He's such a good boy.
Aw, I really do hope Alpha shows up. I do love the. By the way, spoilers for anyone who hasn't done it. I do love the fact that Alpha is wandering around the world.
Yeah, it's such a cute detail.
I think they should just bring Alpha back, and Alpha gets the killing blow on Xenos. You just out of nowhere, just like full Hildebrand just comes in.
Just gives him a heart, changes heart.
Yeah.
That's how.
Oh
it is.
my
That's how
gosh.
it's
If he was like the Grinch, but he was like the
And on that day, Xenos' heart grew 3 times as big.
Yeah, he just saw Alpha, and then he had an entire change of heart. Like, was
Heart
it
just
Cindy Lou
melted.
Who? But it's just Alpha. Yeah.
We've just spoiled Endwalker for everyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we told everyone that they didn't actually give us any previews of the story or quests of Endwalker at the media tour, but we were lying, and they did tell us that it is pretty much just like the Grinch, but Final Fantasy setting. So, sorry, everyone.
Come up to Christmas, I'm just saying, kind of works out.
I would like that, actually, to be honest. I would love to be my Lalafell to be one of the townsfolk that finally gets a Christmas present after all these years as the
Yeah,
way of
it's
life.
just, the Grinch, Xenos just stealing all your relic weapons and stuff, which is canon because you saw a bunch of weapons. Saying
The
steal all your
scientists come
relic
to you
weapons.
at the end of the expansion, just go, are there any fetch quests we can do for you?
Aww.
Imagine that. Imagine.
And then we go, yeah, we already can do that. It's called Retainer.
That's all you're on about. Mine just keep bringing me fish and other people's houses.
Still a fetch quest, even if the fetch quest involves sending out to go get fish.
I didn't send it out to go get fish. I was hoping for something, like a fat cat minion that I still ain't got.
Fish. Look, the
Fish.
more fish you have, the more likely the fat cat will come because it's after the fish.
Is that true? Can I get that in writing?
We are like building such a narrative here. Like this is creating our own content and diving into the world. I would absolutely love it if in this canon, in a future Starlight event, they were just like, yeah, Santa Claus has been the fat cat minion the whole time. And you have to leave fish out for him. And then you could go and you could do ocean fishing and you could get new special holiday seasonal only fish that then you could leave out to get some sort of special prize or special reward in the game for the holidays. That would be incredible, and I think they should do that.
Yeah.
Instead of that weird rainbow effect on ocean fishing, you just proc like a bunch of flying reindeer show up on top
Oh
of the
my
boat.
God,
And you can
yes.
feed 'em.
That'd be so good. And you hear ho ho ho, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. I love
Also-
ocean fishing. I think I want more ocean fishing content.
Also, can Makote
Indeed.
now eat raw fish? That would be a nice update as well. I mean, the cats.
That's fair.
Okay, then can bunny girls and bunny boys eat carrots?
I mean, there are carrots in the game, so probably. Hopefully.
Good. I like carrots. They help your eyes.
They can eat the carrot, but they can't put the carrot on their head.
Yeah, you can't equip it as a hat carrot.
It was a hat. It was a jab
As
at
a hat
hats.
joke. I got you.
Just to
I got you,
clarify.
Fusion.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
knew
living
you would at least appreciate the ragging
absolutely.
on the hat thing.
As a Viera and as a Viera player that's hung in there all this time. Anytime there's even a vague allusion to the hat shenanigans, I'm right there with you. I understand.
You are one of the strongest people I know, being able to
Wow.
play Viera for so long without hats. I don't know how you. I don't think I could do it.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was filming some B-roll, some additional footage for the media tour lore videos, I a couple times just went in and Fantasia'd, and of course I know there are other ways to do this, but I Fantasia'd so that I could just have somebody that looked like they were going to be in Thavnair, stuff like that. And the immediate just liberation I felt going into the glamour wardrobe, and suddenly all these hats that had just been sitting there in a graveyard for ages I could use, and all these hairstyles that I had paid money for I could put on my character. There was a moment of weakness where I sat there like I could just leave myself a Highlander. I mean, I love my Vera, I love her, but I could just have hair and hats. And I did Fantasia back, but it still haunts me to this day.
I've got until end of December to do a challenge where I have to unlock Flying in Stormblood and Endwalker. Otherwise, I'm forced to be changed to a different race in January by Maelstrom Radio. So maybe I
Did
will
we ever
be a
found
Vera.
out? Are you working for that? Like, did we
Probably.
ever find out? Okay, so you are working. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm still going to level with you though.
Okay, cool. So that means I'm on Boobable that time. Let's go. We're gonna go
Yay.
Boobable for the first week.
So talk about stuff
After I
that
change
happened-
my bunny girl to a bunny boy, and then I'll come on.
Has anyone else changed into bunny boys in the chat, or is it just Paul?
I definitely am gonna have some Bunny Boy alts. I almost switched my main to Bunny Boy, but I think I'm gonna keep her. But
Look.
it is hard because they are good.
I
Look,
think I might pop a Fantasia, but only to get the stubble.
You've been waiting for so long for that fusion. I have like no doubt. I was like, the moment I saw it in CC during Media Tour, I was like, that's it. Fusion's gonna have that stubble face forever.
I mean,
Now,
you know,
can
it's not
everyone
like we
get
haven't
it?
been asking about it since Stormblood or something.
Can my Lalafell get that stubble in the future?
I hope so. I really hope. I was devastated because I have an Elizin character that in my own headcanon just has stubble, but the only thing that I can have as an Elizin is that like weirdly sculpted, super pointy triangle facial hair. And so I immediately, the moment I was in the CC with Media Tour stuff, I like went in, I went to see if I could put the stubble on my Elizin, and I couldn't. But you can put it on both Highlander and Midlander, which a lot of people didn't know about or didn't know if it was confirmed, but I did actually double check that, and yeah, you can, which is nice. So I hope they expand it and they do make it something where we get more facial hair options just across the board for other races too.
Yeah, even if I have to buy like the beard pack, Square Enix, I will do that. I'm a man that likes my beards. Like more money. Reach out to.
Also, don't make it gender locked, because that'd be nice as well. I feel like anyone should be able to have it.
So females can have beards too. Yeah, I'm down. I would love me a bearded lady.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Let's go.
I mean, yeah, I think that they should just honestly remove gender locks for like just about everything. Yeah, because honestly, there's so many people who are gender fluid or non-binary or anywhere, or trans who want to express in a lot of different ways. There are even just some people who just want to play around with their character and like let them, gosh, even Lalas that at this point I think would love to do additional variations of like dwarf cosplays and stuff.
Please!
If you could just have beards on all of them, that would be so amazing. You could get deep into the like headcanon of different dye colors of beards and different adornments for beards and all kinds of stuff, and I would love that.
I would go so broke if those were on the Mog Station. I would be so
Encyclopedia
broke.
Norvrant just has an entire chapter about dwarf beards.
I mean, yes, we need that. Absolutely.
So, about the Meteor Tour that was recently, I was able to participate in it, but of course, our two guests were also part of it, and I would like to ask you, what were your favourite parts? Fusion, if you want to go first.
Favorite parts of the... I mean, everything? Can I say
I
everything?
feel like that's
Is
cheating.
that-
I feel like-
Everything except for the scale of Garlemald.
Yeah, that was
Is that
weird.
a little more...
I
yeah,
agree.
I mean, it was great. Like going into Old Charlene, that's where our character started out. I love the music. I love the atmosphere of it. It's nice to see that Soken is doing something a little different with the nighttime music this time around. The last couple expansions we've had, piano stuff from Keiko for night themes. And in Old Charlene, the night theme is like acoustic guitar, which is like really cool. It was nice to hear something a little different. New jobs felt good. Like I didn't play a lot of Sage, like not that I would have, right? That's the thing. It's like, okay, I don't heal. So yes, I can go hands-on with Sage. I won't know what I'm doing, but I could go hands-on with it. But I elected to play jobs, in roles that I was a little bit more familiar with. Reaper was really fun. I'm looking forward to Reaper. All the other job changes felt really smooth. Dragoon is like BTS butter smooth. Like it's really good. It feels really good now. Yeah, I mean, there's just like a lot of little stuff. I think my biggest thing though, and this is more of like a personal thing, was that night, I got to interview Yoshida-san. And it's just like, with the way the world is right now, it's been like 2 years since I've seen him, So to even like to have like this, even if it's on a Zoom call, right? Just to have that interaction, be like, hi, how are you? Like, it's just like, it felt weird, but it felt like a little like cathartic in a way, which sounds kind of weird.
That was my first time interviewing him in person ever. I've done an email interview before once, like a couple of years ago, around the time Stormblood came out. And this time was the first time I'd done it like in person. In fact, because of how late the event was, because as we all know, found out I was on the North American side instead of the EU. They sent me an email saying, your interview slot is at 3 a.m. Are you sure you want to be there, or do you want to cancel? I'm like, no.
I'll make it work.
That's such a terrible predicament. It's like, do you want to talk to Yoshida-san, or do you want to sleep at 3 a.m? I'm like,
nah.
I mean, yes, I will sacrifice my sleep, but why have you done this to me?
Chili doesn't sleep anyway.
People say that, but I do sleep. Honest.
Chili's like, Chili felt insulted.
Thank you, Tip and Salts, for gifting the sub.
You?
Thank you for gifting the sub, Tip and Salts, to Spoony Bard. I love that.
That's a new animation.
Yeah, that is new. That's
Did
cool.
Twitch get an upgrade? The fuck?
I don't know if I like it though.
You can decorate gifted subs now.
We can decorate. Oh my god! Wait, we can decorate our gifted subs.
Chili's getting fucking wallet chat out right now.
I want to make it the most boring one ever, so that people aren't excited to do it. Coal. Let's have coal.
Oh my god! You made me choke on my gummy. Jesus.
They have to have little cute eyeballs on.
I'm sorry. I'm like staying eating gummies because I didn't go to the No, I wasn't invited. I'm too much of a trash content creator.
No, you'll be invited.
Or just not.
Hopefully.
No, but yeah, I didn't interview Yoshi-san. I didn't. I just sat here and waited for all of it to go live.
Which, to be fair,
I'm just
has
a
its
humble
advantages.
viewer.
Has its advantages.
Yeah, I mean,
you
honestly,
got to sleep that week.
You got to sleep and eat food and exist and be a human being that week. It's so funny. I didn't actually think. I knew it was going to be a ton of work. In my head, I had a big idea of what it would be like. I had prepped, I had everything ready and lined up with, the editors that I have on the channel and everything. And even so, with it being my first media tour, I could not believe the just sheer amount of work that goes into this across
and
the board.
Imagine if we hadn't talked before that too, to give you a
know.
little heads up of what
I didn't have any
past.
heads up. I just went in blind.
God.
It is absolutely.
So you didn't see anything.
I know, it's like the most frantic. I couldn't believe every waking hour was just media tour. Every single waking moment was just trying to get the content ready to release for embargo. And I mean, it was awesome to get to be there. I guess to answer the question of what my favorite part was, it's so tough. I mean, obviously I did these lore videos on the new zones. And for me, I am such a huge fan of the artistic direction in this game, the lore, the storytelling, the way that they visually bring it all together, with even just things like these maps and these locations. And it's just such an incredible world to lose yourself in. And they took it to a whole other level with Endwalker. I mean, creating those lore videos, again, was a brutal amount of work, and now I know why almost no other content creator creates in-depth lore dives, history dives around these things, because you're just trying to churn out whatever you can. But I'm also still so glad that I took the time to do it, because diving even further into those zones and what those pins are and what all of the different areas and how they've paid so much attention to detail, Thavnair in particular just blew me away with the references, the color palette, the design, the lore. It's just unbelievable. So getting to explore those zones and do that was really, really, a huge highlight for me. But it was also just really great to be there. It was great to be there with people, to get to talk to other creators, to get to have this weird, incredible experience together, to be in a space with the company. Because, as content creators, no matter what we do, we're always bridging the gap between players and the companies that sort of make these games in this bigger picture. So to actually have that moment and be there with them when it's something I had dreamed of doing for so long, it was is incredibly emotional. I just had to mute myself a few times because I was like in the CC looking at Bunny Boy's like, that's amazing. Look at his stupid face. I'm here right now. Oh, boy buns. Like, it's just, but like, it was like that for everything, just to be there and get to experience it. You know, when you love a game so much, it's really incredible to be able to give back to it in some way. So to be able to do that through the media tour and then you know, be one of these people that got to go. It was so special. But I know just as many creators, you know, who are just as incredible who don't attend or can't attend or, you know, don't get that invite. But I was really excited to see this year that it did seem like they had opened their doors to some new people and that hopefully they'll be keeping an eye out as well on just the diverse, incredible creators we have in this community because for a long time, I think they've been trying to figure out how they want to connect with the bigger community outside of just the few people they work with regularly. So that was really exciting to see, and it was awesome to be a part of.
What you guys were talking, you both talked about how amazing the music was, but I'll be honest, I actually had a massive head. I couldn't really talk about it in my review because of an agreement I made, like my previews, because I had to make an agreement before I joined the media tour. But I had such bad lag from where I lived that the music was just repeating itself, like the first 5 notes almost.
Oh.
So until I actually got to listen to the recordings later, all I could hear was like da 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 da. Oh god, what? Stop, please.
The lag was rough. It was rough, and I was doing it from NA, and even I had to spend like the first 30 minutes trying to troubleshoot with them because it was just so choppy. Doing the dungeon when we did the dungeon together, that was like dungeon extreme.
Yeah, the dungeon was the hardest part because everything is going so fast.
Yeah.
I said the dungeon was really tough, but I feel like that might have been mainly because of the lag. Once we actually get to play it in person, it won't be too bad. So hopefully, I'm hoping. I guess I will say my favorite part was 8 because it's my first time going to the media tour. The whole thing, just like Fusion, it was amazing. But I feel like my favorite part had been Fafnir because I didn't like the zone that much from the video tour. Like when we saw it on the live letter.
I'm in that same position. I liked Fafnir way more than I thought I was going to.
But when I got to explore it and saw the colors in person, in person, like when I got to experience it myself, I felt like it looked really nice and I enjoyed like flying around. So yeah, I feel like that was probably my highlight. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I think I'm the only one who really disliked Garlemald. Like everyone's like, oh, it looks so cool. I'm like,
there were cool elements to it, but like really deep down, the scale thing really bothers me.
For me, it was the color palette. I know there wasn't much they could have done.
Sure.
But every time I went there, it was nighttime, so it was kind of like,
Yeah, scale for me has always been one of those things that's like been in the back of my mind ever since like Stormblood. We were out in was it the peaks where they had like the giant tower with the gun?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we're gonna send a squadron up into the tower, and then the tower blows up, and they're like, oh no! And I'm looking at this tower like the thing. There's no way you fit an entire squadron in this tower. Like the scale of it is so off that like it's, you know, I could fly around it in like 2 seconds. It's not that big. Obviously, like it's not this giant open world game. They're gonna have to work with scale at some, you know, in some way. But just like going to Garlemald finally, and it's like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 square blocks. It's just like this tiny little like patch of city. It's like, all right, this isn't really what I was hoping for.
Though. That's the problem. Like you talking about the tower,
yeah.
But look at Heaven on High. That's a massive tower that you can tell is like a tower. And then even the
for that one too, I think there's some lore about that too, where it shrinks you down inside. And
I mean, when I think probably one of the best visual tricks that I've seen them pull off in the game, to me, has to be Almarat, right? Like when you are down there and you're in the city, there is a very limited actual area that you can run around in, right? But the actual scale of the city that rises behind you is so vast that it really does feel like this massive metropolis, you know? And it's interesting because I actually really did like Garlemald. And in regards to the color palette and stuff like that, one of the things that I enjoyed the most out of the 3 different zones we were able to look at is the fact that every single one of them felt really visually distinctive and different and told a story without a single quest NPC ever having to speak a line of dialogue. And that's something that I kind of felt like, minus a few standout zones and Shadowbringers, we had a little bit more monotony across the board because, again, this is a place that's been sucked out of, all of its vibrancy and life has been drained by the light and all this kind of stuff. And they messed with the skyboxes, which was cool. But, there were a lot of zones where I was like, and it's more brown dirt and rocks and dirt and rocks. And I was like, okay. But one thing about these 3 zones is that in all of them, everything, the color palette, the looks, the architectural details of the buildings are phenomenally done. So good. And it felt to me like Garlemald's color palette in particular was very much like a specific kind of gray, dark, metallic. Like it to me felt much more like an artistic decision that kind of sets the stage for, again, that kind of roiling red, just monstrous thing that has sprung up from the Imperial Palace. So that felt effective to me. But I do agree in the sense that, like, I almost wish that the zone itself was just the city. Like,
Yeah.
I wish that,
Oh, yeah.
I think I've seen just very few games and very few MMOs do this. But like the 2 that come to mind are Guild Wars 1 and The Witcher 3. The fact that you can like go into the entire city in The Witcher 3 and you can like go into buildings, and sure, some of them are copy paste, but like everything is there and rich and visualized as almost its own zone is incredible to me. And it just felt a little bit like maybe a missed opportunity to me to do something innovative in the sense of having like an entire full-scale map that was literally like a devastated urban metropolis, and that you could go to these different areas and the buildings would be towering up above you and there'd be, rubble, and they could even work in a few little effects or things and, have the enemies roaming the streets, but you could really go around all the different districts and see how different people lived in Garlemald and the ruins of their lives and the military fort. Like, that to me would have been like, holy cow. As it is, I kind of extended benefit of the doubt, or suspension of disbelief, just in that sense of like, I realize that probably this is actually meant to be much larger, but it isn't because we're getting a bit of a geographical sense here. But I agree that I felt like they maybe could have done something, pushed it even further, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, there were some elements that were really cool, like having like the subway system, and you can actually go down into it. But then there, that, and in that same kind of note too, is like there's like the highway that kind of like comes out from the side of the map and curves into the city, and you're looking at this, it's just like this tiny little downtown city and this giant ass road, and you're like, where does this go? Like, it just goes into the wall. There's like a big like metal shutter. It's just like, it feels like it's just there to be like, no, really, this is a big city. See, it has a road. Yeah. And it's just like,
thanks, road.
All right. I'm hoping that once we get into it, they'll be like, oh yeah, well, I mean, the bulk of the city was where this giant tower is now. So it's like, this is kind of, I'm like, yeah, right. Like if they can do that, I'll be all right with that. Like, but it's still right now at face value, right?
Paul, what was your favorite part of like the media tour coverage? Paul?
He's speechless. It was just everything. It was so good.
Everything was breathtaking.
Have we lost him? Have we lost him?
He choked on that gummy, and he's no longer with us.
Oh my god,
Please
I hope not!
After all his health issues recently, I really hope not. Like, he's just been to the doctors today. I don't want to go back to the doctors.
Oh, now I feel like an asshole. I'm sorry.
No, my something was downloading on my end, so they may have not heard all that, but sorry, I was talking about stream stuff.
Okay.
Well,
Are you back? Hello?
Oh, I never left.
Okay. So your tour stuff, what did you like? I know you went out
I
on
didn't do
tour,
any
but
tour
there's
stuff.
there's so many
I
videos
just sat here.
by a load of people. What stuff did you watch?
I mean, the only things I really watched were classes mainly. Again, I don't want to spoil myself too much on like the areas because I want to experience it for myself, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I want to go in there. I think the only thing I watched was Chili's video of the dungeon, which looked
yay!
cool, and the bullshit of some of the bosses.
Yeah,
So.
I removed all the bosses from my dungeon video, so I know. I
Oh,
didn't
going back on
Okay.
what I said, one of my favorite things, since I ragged on Garlemald so much, I did love, there was one detail in Garlemald that I thought was great. The pipe.
Oh yeah, the pipe.
So
My gosh.
there's like this
pipe.
kind of like tanker thing on this like little bed of like, I don't know, frozen ceruleum or something. And there's this giant pipe that connects it to Garlemald. And when you look on the map, it's just called the pipe.
That's it. Short and simple.
And I'm like, oh, it's a development build. They haven't final. Well, no, if you zoom in, it's their in Eorzean, the pipe. So that's the actual name. It's just the pipe. And I'm like, this is so stupid. It's fantastic. I love this.
Right.
It's just the pipe.
Someone has to copyright the pipe as a pipe, and it was this person who was smart enough to copyright it.
I mean, I'm trying to think of other. I mean, there's just so many things from this media tour. We didn't even really talk about Old Charlian, but I think Old Charlian is one of the most impressive cities that we've had in the game.
It's a cool hub. Yeah.
It's such a cool hub. I can't wait to see like what characters populated. I can't wait to AFK there and hang out with people and do photo shoots and RPs in different locations. I mean, that really was incredible to see that all realized. And I mean, the dungeon itself, I'm curious, what did you all think about it? Like, did you feel as though the dungeon was a standout in any way for you? If we're trying to avoid spoilers, obviously we don't have to talk too much about the bosses. Did you feel like it was just so-so?
No, we can talk about the bosses if everyone's in the chat's okay with that. This, there's been so many videos. I just personally wanted to get rid of it out of my video just so that if anyone watching my video, But before we start talking about dungeons, just want to say a big shout out to Rook and Jahara. And it was I wasn't sure who our other player. There was someone from media as well, wasn't there? That was in our group on my second. That was a fun time.
It was
Thank
so
you again
fun.
for that dungeon run.
No, thank you. I'm so sad that we honestly didn't capture the Discord audio. This is what made me laugh so much from the media tour. In all of our footage, and I think none of us expected this, you can hear the Discord pings.
God.
Every time the Discord bloops, it picked up in the recording stuff that we were able to use for the media tour. And I didn't even, it never crossed my mind because they are two completely separate pieces of software. It never crossed my mind that you'd be able to hear the bloops. Yeah. But you couldn't actually hear any of our spoken words. And what was so funny is that we got through this dungeon run and it was such a blast. Thank you for running with me, Chili, because oh my gosh, it was great to have some friends there and to get to laugh, and also people who know how to play 14, and that was great. But we got done with that run, and a couple of the staff that were in there or had come in while we were going were like, this is one of the funniest runs we have heard from the entire media tour. They're like, that was amazing. I wish we had it captured. And I was like, me too. It was such a blast. We were all
Didn't they say that
yelling
people were
and
laughing?
memeing. And
they were laughing in the background.
Yeah.
I didn't know if to take that as a compliment or...
We had a great time. Many jokes were told. Much screaming and death occurred. It was really good.
I remember one of the things we did is there was a hunt mob in Thavner that we found. So the entire group was like, "Hey, let's like try and take this thing down." And so one of the kind of rules, right? And I'm pretty sure I can say this, because it's an in development build. If there's stuff that's like not finalized or like in Japanese still, we couldn't show it. Which is understandable, right? It's not finalized. It's fine, whatever. So we're like, okay, let's take down this hunt mob. As soon as we attack it, all of its moves are in Japanese. I'm just like, son of a...
I did get...
So we did fight it. We did take it down. The community team, we had Tony in chat trying to like translate the attack moves so we could tell like when to move out and when to move it. It was hilarious.
Well, Jahara is a Japanese tutor, and I took Japanese in all of high school. Yeah, so when we were running, Jahara was like, the move would pop up, and she'd start slowly sounding it out, and then I would be over there, and I was like, blah 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 blah, tail, it's a tail attack, run. Like it was so fun because like I can read hiragana, katakana, I can't read a lot of complex kanji. So between all of us and Chili, and we're all like hanging there, we're like sounding it out and just yelling as we go, trying to figure out what this is or that is. Honestly, it added a whole level of fun to that fight. I would, if people are looking for new ways to just spice up the game, maybe put your whole interface in Japanese and then go run some content and try to figure it out while you do it.
I already do that. I think like half of my raid group actually plays in Japanese. So there's a lot of times we'll be calling out like mechanics or like, okay, but what is that called in Japanese?
By the way, Words of Game said there was asked. They asked some people asked to turn the Discord sounds off. So you could actually turn it off if you knew about it, but I didn't think about it.
Some people noticed it. Yeah, it was one of those things where because it was remote and things were coming through, it was just it's one of those things. But it's funny because you go back, you're like, all right, like let's break up some of this music to use for like the B-roll stuff, and then you're like, why are there Discord beeps in it? So it's like, okay, now we have to take like every single second of footage from the zone and like splice it together to get like a cohesive music track to use. And oh my gosh, it was, yeah. Even then, at the end, I ended up, I think our dungeon stuff still had some Discord beeps. I'm like, oh well, whatever.
I think mine still had some. I didn't mind. I didn't care. I'm like, people have Discord. They'll just get confused. We'll just trick some people. It's fine. What was I going to talk about the dungeon? I was going to say something about the dungeon just a second ago, but now I've forgotten. Damn it. Oh, no,
We were going to
hunt.
talk about
That was
the
it.
dungeon.
The hunt. That was it. I actually uploaded some video footage of the hunt because I couldn't get... There was some pikes, but I wasn't able to get invited. I was like running around on my own. So I just went... when the boss was down to like 15% health, I just went to like no HUD mode and just started recording, running around the hunt. I'm like, well, I can't
Seizing
record
the opportunity.
the text names, but I will record it without anything on screen. So, but no, our run with the hunt did not go well at the A rank. We
It took
found
a
it
while,
like
yeah.
we found it with half an hour left,
Mm.
but enough people died they reset. So,
It was literally down to the wire. Like, we were doing
Yeah.
it up until the minute where they were like, it's time to end, everybody has to stop. And we literally killed it right before we had like 2 minutes to spare or something.
Gosh.
But like, honestly, when I was mentioning earlier things that I love from the media tour, those moments were so worth it to me because like, obviously, for anybody who doesn't know, like when you go in as a content creator, it's really different than just like, I'm going to go in for this really fun little preview demo of what's coming, right? Because the whole time you're thinking, if you're representing a news outlet or for your own channels or for things like that, you know, you are trying to figure out what you are going to be able to get and how you're going to be able to turn it into content. And so based off of like previous years, you can kind of come up with an idea of what sorts of things they might present, what kind of coverage might be out there, and sort of structure around that. But you don't really know until the moment that you're there exactly what you're going to have, how much of it, where it's going to be. Like, you don't know any of that stuff. So it is a lot of work, actually, even just structuring your day. Like, how many hours have I been working on X, Y, or Z? How many jobs do I think I can feasibly actually like look at and get? Sorry, I've got some street racing outside. I don't know if you can hear the zooming of cars. Sorry. But like, how am I going to pace out the footage of what I'm trying to capture? What were the things I wanted to hit? How much time do I have left? How much time do I think a dungeon run is going to take? Let me ask around and see with other people. So like, it really becomes this like self-structured task list, and people will focus on different things, but it's still so worth it, I think, to take those rare opportunities to get to like do something with the other people that are present. Because as creators, a lot of what we do is on our own, unless we're part of podcasts or moments like this, or like, you know, unless we do collabs. So to be able to actually like play together and play with, you know, other media outlets and all sorts of things and get to see this game in a different light, even for just a second, is so worth it. I honestly think that Square Enix, like, they should absolutely capture some of that stuff and capture like the audio lines and all sorts of things and do their own stuff even after, where they're like, you know, these were the creators that we had and like, look at how much fun they had in the dungeon, or like, look at this thing, or with 2 minutes to spare, they cleared it, because people would love that. They would love that. But as it is, I really treasure those memories that, you know, the few that we got to make even amidst all the scheduling.
I think too, on a similar note, something that I liked this time around as well, you know, having been to you know, media tours for A Realm Reborn, for Stormblood, for Shadowbringers, I didn't get invited to the castle in Europe for Heaven's Word, but that's okay. It was nice to not have Square Enix, and I don't know if there's a good way or a bad way to phrase this, but not step on our toes a little bit. Because previously, we'll get in there, we'll look at the areas, and we'll have, you know, footage of the zones and stuff, and then they come out and put out the official zone videos, and we're like, uh-oh, okay. But this time they didn't do that. So what's out there is from the creators, from the media, which, you know, allows more eyes to get on that stuff, which I thought was really nice. So
talking about stuff from Square Enix, tomorrow is a live letter. Paul, you excited?
Depends on
Crafting the Gathering!
PvP and the crafting.
Yay!
I don't know if they're going to talk anything about fishing, but other than that,
well, hopefully it's a gathering class. I want more.
I mean, I know they're
fishing.
taking out high quality. I want to see, like, so how are you going to get like better XP from fishing if the HQ is going to be gone?
I mean, they
That's how I used to
already
get
gave
most
you
of my
ocean
XP.
fishing. What more do you need?
But what happens if I just want to go chill in a lake for a little bit?
Go grab a leaf quest and fish.
I mean, they're not completely removing all high quality, right? It's just that like low level stuff, so you will
No,
still be able
I
to high
thought-
quality other things.
I thought all high quality is going.
No, no,
Not
no, no,
all.
no, no, no.
No, I thought
You can
all
No,
the
still
base
they're-
craft something
ingredients.
high quality, but you can't gather stuff high quality.
Yeah, all the base gathering high quality is going. I thought it's just the crafted.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
high quality as a function still exists in the game. I've seen
Oh,
like a
no, it
lot of
still
people
exists.
just like all high quality has been removed, and like I've had players come in who are just like, what? What do you mean we won't be able to try and make something good anymore? And it's like, no, it's just that our inventories are a disaster, and high quality stuff does not stack. Like high quality materials don't stack with the normal. So in order to like help condense some of that, right? They're just making it so that there's, that whole tier where it's just going to be, you just get the stuff that you get. And then as you craft and you work through it, you can still work towards high quality things. It's just, I think people have had some confusion about that. So I wanted to clarify.
Well, and to further clarify too, your inventory is a disaster. Some of us clean our inventories.
Nah,
Wow.
no, I feel like you're the minority when it comes to that. To be honest, I think most people's inventories are disasters. I think 99%.
I saw an opportunity and I
base.
took it. I'm not sorry.
Look, mine is also
Okay,
a
I forgive
disaster.
you.
I try to make
Thank you,
space,
Chili.
but it doesn't. It fills up as soon as I make space. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I tried too, and like a complete mystery. It's just full again. Like I don't understand how it happens. It's not my fault, definitely. I take no
No.
responsibility for
See?
that.
Damn magic bag fairies.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, mine's pretty clean, and I gather and craft constantly. So I don't know. I don't know what everyone's issue.
Yeah, I think it must be a bug, probably, and it only affects Chili and I.
Yeah, I think it's a bug
That
of you
sounds like
guys.
a
then.
you problem.
I feel like, yeah. it's
In
a
regards
bug.
to live letter stuff, I'm excited to hear more about the new small scale PvP, and I also hope we get a little bit more about Island Sanctuary. Like I know that Island Sanctuary isn't happening like right away, but I just want to know more about it. I'm very excited about it. So
They need to give us details about Island Sanctuary.
yes,
I just want
If not
retire
to
and be a
just tell us
farmer.
of the new things, to clarify it, like because there's been some discussions about it after the media tour, and I think they really need to do their best to keep expectations in check.
Like people thinking that it's a personal house when it's not a personal house.
Yeah.
The best, it's probably going to be a personal barn. And that's the best. I'm thinking more
Yeah.
of a shed.
Isn't that what
Yeah.
most people are happy about, though? It's a personal shed. It's a personal something that they can,
People think it's bigger than it is.
Yes.
Like, people
Their
are
own-
thinking like mansion. Like,
people were thinking that because of various things that kind of got, I don't know, passed around and misspoken about and things like that. People were thinking that the Island Sanctuary had been confirmed as having some kind of individual instanced housing that would ultimately be available on the island for every single player to have a house. As it actually sounds like, it sounds more like it's going to be something a little bit a la Stardew Valley, a la Farm Sim, right? Where you have a selection of buildings or a building or something like that you can build on the island. And what the extent of that will be, we have no idea yet, right? It was just kind of like a little passing thing that was tossed out that there might be some different like facilities you can customize on the island or something.
I mean, like, obviously, like, I think of it as if it didn't come out of the developer's mouth, then I don't believe it. I just,
Yeah, it's that line of there's this expectation, there's this hope that people have where they want instance housing, and as soon as they hear anything that could even be remotely interpreted that way, they're just gonna jump on it and be like, "Yeah, we're getting it." And it's like, nah.
Yeah, I mean, I Fusion and I, we both want instanced housing so bad.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, unfortunately, this one was not actually a confirmation of it.
I mean, yeah,
But
Yoshida
they-
even came out and he's like, "This is not Animal Crossing.
Yes.
There's not a raccoon you will owe money to. It's just it's an island and
And that'd be a
But
lot of
no,
fun.
they
we've already
did
got Rowena
confirm
to
recently-
own money too. So
That's true. They did confirm recently on the special site update that there is going to be like minions. So you're gonna be able to have your minions on the island,
Yeah.
which, was kind of rumored and people have been talking about, but that actually was mentioned on the little new summary thing that they have for it. So it does look like they'll be making use of some of those Verminion assets that people rarely ever see and letting them out somewhere on the island.
yeah, that would be cool. Like, to be honest, I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited for PvP as well. I was part of a PvP tournament recently with PvP Revival, and that was a lot of fun. Big shout out to them as always. So I'm looking forward to seeing any PvP news tomorrow. Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be excited for PvP, but I'll let you know after they talk about it.
Paul, have you got any thoughts about PvP at all? Because I know you played PvP in WoW, right? I think.
Yeah, I played a lot of PvP in WoW. I was a very toxic rogue player. But no, I hope they make it just better than Feast and make it so you can't. What's the word of it? Can't boost each other. Have a lot of other characters. That would be nice. So
Someone says I sound quiet, so I'm gonna turn myself up a little bit. I don't know if I sound quiet on Discord, but
You sound fine to me.
okay. Hey, carry on, Paul.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, no, I'm just hoping they. Oh, sorry, I didn't shilling. So I just hope they just do it better, make it a bit balanced. Should be fine. I know I'm not really looking forward to anything. I'd like to, I'd like to look. Don't get me wrong, but yeah,
we'll
Rook,
see.
how
I
about
mean,
you?
yeah, like I mentioned, the PvP Island Sanctuary. Anything more that they show us about stuff would be great. If they had news, stuff is in story stuff would be great. But of course, we don't want too much. We want it to be a fresh experience. I would also love it if they elaborated a little bit more about some of the things coming for Viera and Hrothgar, because they did mention in some of the follow-up media tour interviews that supposedly they have been working really hard to get more hairstyles and to separate out some of the things, like how Hrothgar's hair is tied to their face. So, in order to change your hairstyle, you have to literally use a Fantasia or buy with real money a Fantasia. So I just want to know a little bit more about the extent of that. It was really strange to me at the media tour to see that yet again about half of the relic gear sets just didn't work on Viera as far as the headpieces went, especially when they took the time to make the hat for Reaper work. But the hat for Black Mage is very similar in structure and design and doesn't. So I just it's such a weird little spot for me from a company, and I've talked about this so much on so many places in Aetheryte Radio, but it really is a really strange little thing for me for a company that otherwise is so meticulous and detailed, to have this weird thing with these races. So just hearing something more about their plans and how they're, going to be rounding it out or things like that. I'm so glad we're getting the opposite genders for them. But I think there are still really concerns from a lot of players about the fact that if these really are the last two races of the game, the fact that they just don't have half of the, features and things that other races have, and that the gear you spend time and, you want to get and acquire and be able to show off and use for whatever reasons you might want to, isn't visible on them is actually, I think, a pretty big issue. For people who don't play those races, sure, it's pretty easy to just sweep it under the rug. But as somebody who plays a lot of MMOs, this is a very weird thing. And there's very few other MMOs that have some, race like this that doesn't actually offer the same things as other races. And it just, I don't know. I'm just very curious. I know a lot of players wanted those races, but it almost feels to me they designed the heads themselves. So if they really found that it wasn't going to be feasible long term, then I would have rather had them just do other unique races in the game or something, So I just hope we get more information about that.
Yeah, that would be nice to see. We've talked about this for forever, right? It feels like every other episode, I feel like we bring up the hat issue, but it is one of those things. We're not sitting here white knighting the game all the time. Yes, we love the game, but we do talk about its flaws. And really, it's I've said on our show, is Yoshida is a very smart man. He knows what he's doing. So the fact that we ended up with Viera and Hrothgar like this, it's baffling. It's astounding that this actually happened under his leadership, because it's just that stupid. It shouldn't have So it's so weird to see, and I hope that they're able to make changes and get it to where they feel more completed.
I'd be happy to say if later down the line when they get both of the races out, Bunny Boy and from Rogoga person, the female Hrothgar, that they just completely just work on the heads, hairs, other things, then hopefully, then they'll be fine. Because as I said, this is their last race that's ever going to be in the game. So hopefully they can tune it a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. And it does seem like they're working on it. So just hearing even a little bit more, even if it's just step by step, right? Hairstyles. And then maybe someday they start retroactively adding more hats. We get female Hrothgar coming. Like, all those things are good. I just would like to hear them talk a little bit more about it, I guess, for the live letter.
Yeah, because they tweaked some of the hairs for Mika's head, like the two like baubles you can get on your head hair. Don't know if you know that one, but they actually put it to your side because your ears are in the way of that. Why don't just do that for Vieira?
Well, and the real baffling thing too is on the media tour, a lot of the characters were Mil Vieira starting off. Like, you could Fantasia if you wanted to, but
which I did.
If you look, go watch a Mil Vieira play Reaper when they do the merge with their Void Scent, where they get the cloak. Their ears just disappear. They have the technology to just like easily just be like, all right, just take the ears off. Just do it. We don't care. Just give us hats.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would rather have it. And of course, one of the things that I did always find charming about 14 was the fact that they tried to adapt the ears where they could. It doesn't always work. Mm-hmm. But, it is funny to me when you get that, like, helmet and Elzen have, little cute ear socks. Like, I think that's hilarious. I love it. But I would rather just have all the stuff be accessible and, like, half of it cut your ears off than just have it not be something that you can even like look forward to collecting or having, or it is very strange. And especially when it comes to those high level gear sets, or like things like the raid rewards, or things like these relic sets, which are supposed to be like iconic visual job sets for your class. It really feels like a missed mark for me to have any of those not be accessible for all the races that you have in the game. Especially when they do stuff like in this previous expansion, putting a lot of those armor sets behind something like an Extreme Primal. And while that fight isn't necessarily, again, like the absolute hardest fight in the game, getting people to run it, getting people to do it, trying to spend the time to get all the stuff that you want, to have those unique gear sets, or have those upgrades, or have whatever else of the dyeable versions, right? That's still a time investment. And if you get stuff for it and then you can't even use like one of the whole slots, it is kind of... Yeah, it's a bummer for people who are really into glamour, or even just like collecting those unique gear sets to kind of show what they've accomplished.
Yeah, I got a bunch of hats for my like other, when Vieira did not come out, I was like, Hrothgar, not a Hrothgar, I was like a Benro and all that, and I have all these cool heads, all this cool armor. Can't use it now because obviously I love Vieira because they're bunnies, but all the armor they have brought out with the raids have all been like kind of like eye thing. Or, some have hats and hoods. Like, I play a samurai, so like they brought like a rose kind of thing. Well, I thought was pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, that was really cool. But say, why can't I wear a helmet? Why are the ears that way? And you brought up another weird point about the AF gear, but the Black Mage one, you can't wear it. But why does the Reaper have it? Why didn't they do every AF armor can be on any race?
I mean, really, why wasn't every piece of armor created for Shadowbringers compatible with the new Shadowbringers races? Okay, like, it's one thing if you can't go back and like retroactively get everything done. Okay, that's a little bit understandable. But like going forward, the fact that this stuff just isn't there is just I don't understand.
No, I could have accepted.
It's very weird.
I could have accepted if they said, okay, when Shadowbringers first came out, the first set of armor, the hats aren't compatible because we didn't have time. But any future patches, I feel like any future any future gear that was added in like 5.1 onwards should have been like for everyone, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's so strange. Like, again, when you think about it, it's just like, it's very odd. Like, if you think about any other game where they have races that they've introduced that are like part of the selling features of expansions, and that obviously have like a passionate player base that likes playing them. Like, I can't think of a single other MMO where it's just like, oh yeah, here's new gear that you can get from this dungeon. Oh, but it doesn't work on X or Y. Or like, can you imagine if they just now started doing stuff, I don't know, where it was like Aura, for example, and they were like, we realized that we've been working on the horns for a long time, and we're tired of having to make the gear work with the horns. So, like, from here on out, some of the helmets won't work for Aura, or some of the things won't work for Elizin because their pointy ears are annoying. And, like, the amount of players that at that point would be like, what is happening? It's like, even if you're not playing those races, those gear sets, those looks, those aesthetics, the stuff that you work for to earn in this game That's one of the biggest selling points for me because Final Fantasy XIV does have so many intriguing, wonderfully done, unique gear sets that as part of your subscription and part of what you look forward to get back from this game as far as value goes to some extent does come in the form of those unique looks, right? We're super lucky in 14 to not have a massive amount of cash shop stuff that is constantly up there and are the only way you can really get your fashion game on. So yeah, it's just like, it's incredibly strange that even with the limitations of these races implemented in the game, which they themselves designed, they have not designed future gear sets to work with the things that they put into it's just so weird. It's just so weird.
I mean, it does speak a lot to the game, though, where, like, our biggest issue right now is that our buns can't wear hats.
Yeah.
I know, right? And, like, everything else is going to knock it out of the park.
I will say,
There's
I do
so much
find
good stuff.
You brought about Elzen and Aura not wearing it. But in reality, if I could be wrong, and Fusion might be able to correct me here. But wouldn't it be Lalafell that actually would be the ones that would have like the equipment removed first? Because Aura, Makote, Hya, and Elzen and Ro all use the same like basic model, don't they? And Lalafells actually have their own unique model, if I remember rightly.
I don't know for sure, but that wouldn't surprise.
If I'm rightly, all the base
yeah.
races except for Lalafell are all actually just based on Hero's body, based on shape.
Oh, it's
But I
easy
mean,
though. They
there's-
just take the model and
Yeah.
just squish it, and they're like, "Here you
Yeah.
go. Here's a tiny."
And
version."
they're still having to adapt that around unique things though, right? Like with the
Yeah.
Aura, they have the tail, Mikote have a tail, you've got the horns, you have different ear shapes, different sizes. So like it's just very interesting. It's a very strange little thing that this game has so meticulously for so many years adapted to the different diverse looks that they have for their races. But like in this regard, they came to that point where they were just like, well, we just won't have stuff that works for them. And somebody was like, okay. And then they sent it out. It's very strange. So that's why I was curious about hearing about it. But I agree with Fusion in that like this game does so many other things so exceptionally well and so incredibly that it really is just a footnote, honestly. I mean, the story and everything that we saw from the media tour, all the stuff that I'm excited about hearing about in the live letter. We've got, 15 days, roughly 14, 15 days until the X-Pack. I'm like,
Oh my god!
I am so excited because this game has done so much that is just incredible. And this is going to be a real pinnacle of storytelling in MMOs. And I think it's going to leave a massive mark on how other MMOs navigate narrative in the future.
Mm-hmm. And now, for a little bit of controversy, how do you guys feel that WoW is bringing out Legion stuff on the Endwalker Day? You think they're trying to compete? Do you think the WoW people that are playing Final Fantasy, do you think they're going to go back to it?
I mean, Battlefield is coming out. I think the same day.
Yeah.
The
So it's
people.
like-
I think that's different though, because
Yeah.
there's a
It's
difference
not
between...
about to. Yeah.
Well, no, it's just it's not. Okay, I feel like WoW releasing the patch at the same time is not an issue. The biggest issue, as you said, is the Legion, because unlike 14, where you can go back and do old content like scaled down with the either scaled or level unsynced, you can do any old content you want at any time. If you can just click the minimum level. With WoW, with time walking, you can
the
only
time
do it
walking
during
worked again.
yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk about time walking.
I know, like 5.1 was yesterday, or 5.15.
Yeah, 9.15 is yesterday, but Time Walking comes
What?
out early December, which is roughly around the same time as Raid. Isn't it early December or is it late November? I know that it was...
late
November.
December. It's like Christmas timing for Raid, I believe.
No, they should be early... normal Raid should be early December.
Oh, normal Raid. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking normal. Savage Raid
Yeah, I
should be
forgot
end of
that they-
December.
Yeah, I forgot they split that. Yeah.
Yeah. Time Walking's literally away a few weeks and release. Yeah. But the thing is, though, I feel like Time Walking is targeting. That's the problem. The patch is not an issue. People will go back, but the Time Walking being the fact that it's a limited amount of time and people are about to try their fancy. I know this will sound weird because they have done raids in Fantasy 14. And they have progged raids, as you've seen before, that they have progged raids. That's no joke. Isn't Time Walking only for 2 weeks and you can only go in for a specific time and then it's gone and then it comes back in a few months?
Week. I think it's a week.
A week.
I think it's a week.
They add expansion slowly to Time Walking, so this typical. That's the problem, though. They're adding this right as the new raid tier is coming out. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but like if you've
It's-
played Legion, like you've
Yeah.
played Legion,
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
one of those things. It's apples and oranges.
Yeah, I honestly just feel like it's people looking for a reason to spark more antagonism between the two communities, right? It's one of those things where World of Warcraft is facing a lot of bigger picture issues right now.
Yeah, this is the
and I mean,
minorest
all
thing.
studios, yes, but like all studios were affected, their workflow is affected, all sorts of things were affected by the pandemic. And I think the amount of time that we've seen studios pick themselves up and be able to work towards larger releases has been fairly comparable, right? So just like in general, many games, a lot of momentum is just now starting to come back. And WoW did have a huge drought as far as patch content went. And while we had a bit of delay with 14, we saw more regular stuff even in 14 than World of Warcraft did for a really long time. And with stuff like the time walking things and events like that, right? Like Work to Game saying in chat, these are just things that are just scheduled. Like they just exist and like they are just a
Right.
part of regular kind of upkeep. I mean, just like, stuff that's just happening. So I don't view this in any way, shape, or form as like if WoW had scheduled an X-Pack drop of their own that then overlapped directly with Endwalker. That would feel more like a specific kind of play than something like this, where I really just think like WoW's got to get something out and they have to keep up with their cycles because, I mean, a lot of the player base has shifted or has changed, and there is a lot of, I think, well-deserved scrutiny on the company right now, both in what it delivers in game, but also in the actual infrastructures and things that are happening behind the scenes that are not a healthy working environment for employees. So it's like, I don't honestly think that that's going to be any competition whatsoever, to be completely frank, with like a whole new expansion in Final Fantasy XIV at the peak of their subscriber. We have more subscribers than we've ever had. It's like this huge thing that's a culmination of 10 years of story. I really feel like Endwalker is going to crush everything through the end of the year as far as MMOs go. And like, if people are really up in arms about WoW having ongoing content, I think it's just because they want to try and continue to feed into this rivalry or this like friction between the two communities,
And Chris, I'm not trying to say that, by the way. Yeah, I'm not talking that. I'm just saying the fact that it's kind of rough for the WoW creators that they're going to be going into the raid because the raid will be coming out at the same time. And they'll have the choice of either do they try and prog Endwalker for their first ever live prog in a way. Like, as I was saying before, they progged like Ultimate, they progged other raids with minimum eye level and they're, people that have been watching them. But this will be the first time they'll be able to raid. It will still be some prog. Like, I've tried time walking. And I
Time
got the
walking
dragon.
isn't prog style content. I mean, it can be.
It can be, depending on the group.
Because it syncs up as well.
Yeah.
Like to our eye level, and it's a little bit annoying. I've had problems.
I know my
trying it.
group took about 2 or 3 hours to just try the dungeon when I did it, and it took us a while before we beat it.
Well, it's not just the dungeon; it's
raid
also
prog, but it still takes a while.
you can do raids as well because that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
there are time walking raids as well that you can do to get gear. Because
Yeah.
it's closer
But
to Unreal.
it's still prog though. If you're making progress on a, it might not be exactly
Even
the
Unreal
same.
is hard.
Yeah,
Like Titan, fuck Titan.
yeah. That's why that's in the song.
Fuck
No,
the
no, no,
Bison
no,
as well.
no, 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 fuck Titan.
Yeah, I mean, how people
yeah.
approach it will be up to their groups.
Yeah.
And I mean, for people who are looking for content in WoW right now,
Right.
they need something. Like they desperately need something, So having anything that you can work on is great. But again, I don't really feel like the scale of either of these releases are like comparable. You know what I
No,
mean?
no,
Like in a
no,
way
no.
that I would actually like that I would
said-
hold them up to one another and be like, "Ooh, controversy."
I don't think it's controversy. I just feel bad because the people that might want to go back and like have rose glasses will have to choose between. And even normal mode, when it comes out, World Game is not going to be world first. It's normal mode. Nobody cares about who beats normal mode first. It's Savage, and Savage will come out after Time Walking ends. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, I truly believe it's just unfortunate right now, right? Because this is the situation that many companies are in right now, where if they had other releases that they were hoping to get out this year, it just didn't happen. So they're kind of facing this dilemma of either, do we try and cram in all of our releases here before the end of the year when it overlaps with the holidays and everything else that's going on, or do we delay to early next year? And we've seen different companies address it in different ways. Unfortunately, I just think there's going to be overlap with some of them because so many people had so many setbacks and delays that many of those summer releases we would have seen all got pushed back to the holidays. And I'm sure that wasn't an easy decision even for Final Fantasy XIV to make when they're considering international audiences and the fact that Thanksgiving collides in the United States. And, of course they made those decisions and they were like, I mean, I'm glad, don't get me wrong, I'm very glad we get it this year. I would have I would have been very sad if I had to wait until next year for the expansion, but it's just something where we're going to see some of that for a lot of different games because unfortunately,
and I mean, big games release on the same day, all the time. Like, it's not like this has never happened before. I mean, we're also getting, I think, Pokemon is the same day, isn't it?
Pokemon.
It's on the 19th. So
well,
I mean, there's
Pokemon's
a lot.
early access,
I'll probably be playing Pokemon during early access when I'm like waiting for Q. Like,
waiting for the servers to not shit themselves.
Yeah, that's the hope.
But no, we're talking about games coming out. Look at February next year. February next year is just big games the month.
Yeah, there's so much.
So
did I miss something? February game.
There's so many games coming out February next year.
22.
I mean, I know End of Dragons Guild Wars 2's expansion is coming out February, but I know a bunch of others are too.
I mean, you got was it Star Wars The Old Republic 7.0 Legacy of the Sith expansion is supposed to come out holiday season at some point. I know a lot of people don't know what SWTOR is, because
my collector's edition.
I know what SWTOR is. I bought the collector's edition. Yeah, I played it for
at the top of my shelf
and then never touched it.
And then it just
Well, take that back. I bought the normal one, and then I bought the collector's edition when Microsoft Store clearanced it for like $10 just to get the statue.
February so far is Life is Strange remaster, Dying Light 2, King of Fighters, Warhammer 3, Horizon, Destiny 2 DLC, Sifu, Saints Row, Elden Ring, Evil Dead the Game,
there's
other games as well.
Oh, I forgot all about Destiny expansion.
Ooh, Vampire the Masquerade.
That'll be where my life goes in February.
As long as you bought the collector's edition, so you can get the dungeons.
Oh, absolutely.
Shifu looks good.
So February next year is proof that big games will just come out if they want to.
Yeah,
so,
whenever they're ready, they will come out. That's how these things work.
But still no Dragon Age.
Don't worry, that's
quietly. I'm just quietly crying over here. If it ever happens, please.
What do you mean?
I mean, we know that it's coming, but it has been in the limbo land for a while now. We got a little teaser, tiny tidbits. Yeah, Dragon Age, but nothing really, really specific about it yet. So,
can I?
But BioWare has some other things.
Final Fantasy.
Can I?
It'll be great. It'll come out. It'll have dragons of various ages. It'll be great.
Okay.
Look, I only my favorite was Dragon Age 1. Okay. Dragon Age 1 was the best.
Mine was every Dragon Age.
I mean,
I pick favorites between my kids.
Origins is my favorite, but that's just me. They all have something to offer, honestly, which is cool. But thinking about stuff with Live Letter Media Tour, is there anything that...
No, there's nothing about the Nautilus.
Dang it. No. Is there anything else that any of you came across that, you were surprised by or excited by with coverage from that, or anything you're hoping we might see that hasn't really been talked about in the new expansion?
Extreme mount.
Yeah, extreme mounts. I want to see if my bunny mounts are true.
Yes, that'd be good.
I want to be a bunny reaper with a bunny minion with a bunny mount. Helping the bunnies of the moon.
I was wrong about Shadowbringers because I said would probably get pigs for Shadowbringers. So
I would totally take a boar mount. That would be so cute. Oh, and if all the little ones you got, mounts. That's true, but they're not that good. They could be a wild boar, and they'd be very good.
Okay, tell us how you really feel. Wow.
I'm just gonna be honest.
I know we have pig beast tribes, but I was because if you look, all the primal mounts are based on the zodiac in a little bit. There's a bit of the rooster is the bird and so forth, but there's horses and ponies and so forth. They're all kind of tied to. So I thought pigs because that kind of followed the line, but we didn't get pigs. We got dragons. But I feel like bunnies with the lunar aspect and all the fact that we got all those bunnies.
I mean, do you know what you could have done? I don't know if anyone watches Seven Deadly Sins, but you could do the end of the pig mount. It's just a giant pig with a bar on top. No, so okay, I'm a bit weeb, okay, but I think that'd just be cool. I wouldn't mind that. What's the next animal cosplay or costume? Sorry, I think it'd be a cow. Should we be a cow? I want to be a cow.
I will say, I got an interview with Yoshi P at the media tour, and there's one thing I wish I'd asked for that I know personally it would annoy everyone else that I asked this question, but it's a question that I've wanted to suggest since swimming got announced, right? It's something I've wanted to suggest since swimming. I wanted I can never remember the words of them. Those rubber donuts. you get.
The
I wanted
the floaty thing,
tubes?
the inner
The
tube,
floaties.
inner tube.
I want some inner tubes as a summer event based on like Moogles, Chocobos, Namazu as like a
I
summer
mean, that would be
award.
cool glamour. Like not
Give us a
like
different, either as a glamour or
Yeah.
do it as a new water float animation.
Well, now they could do it as a fashion. What you call it? You know.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can wear those while you're swimming.
I mean, they're just mount codes, aren't they? So it should be able to.
Do you know what I want? I want more like minion slippers. You know how we got the Moogle slippers?
Ooh,
I want more
those would be
slippers.
good.
I think that would be cool. You know, like, get like a Namazu, like
You just
Namazu
want to shove your
slippers
feet
and stuff.
into more things' mouths.
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
I would love it. I would love it if they announced duo emotes. Like emotes where you could go up to somebody and like agree to do
High
the
five.
emote together. Yeah, and then it would coordinate. It would like slot you into the right places, and then you would just do it. I think that would be
Oh my
amazing.
god! Can we get a waltz emote where you have to pick a partner and just dance with them around? Oh, that'd be so cool.
The downside is
issue
though,
with-
if you're if you're a Lalafell, your partner has to like break their back to.
Oh my god, that would be even funnier.
Or you
Or they
stand
just
on their
pick the
feet.
Lalafell up.
You stand on their feet and with the tippy toes. But no,
that would be cool.
I would have, if I was doing a selfish question, I would have asked that. Actually, let's go around the room. We'll end here soon. But anyone got any selfish questions they would ask before we end? Like, they want to ask, but they wouldn't
man.
because they know that, it's not exactly that important.
That's hard because I've my brain has been programmed to not try and think of those questions.
Selfish
Oh.
questions like that we would ask like the
what
company
would you-
about something.
Well,
if
no,
if
you have
if,
to
if you
interview.
didn't get dirty looks or any blowback for wasting time, what would you ask?
I don't want to say this question. I don't want to say it.
Paul then, I guess, while he
Stupid.
says he doesn't want to say it, what everyone thinks.
At least he's got something. I don't.
Yeah.
This is a hard
Yeah,
one.
I'm trying to think of one.
Yeah, why isn't Kral on the poster?
She's dead.
Word to Game, can I address the color of the bandana on my pixie? By the way, while everyone's thinking, go check out Word to Game's coverage. Chris on Gaming Kinda covered all kinds of media tour news. So if you want a great site to check, great video channel to check out all the different channels for media tour stuff and interviews and videos, go check out Gaming Kinda. Also, remember to go check out Word to Game's channel with Brian, where they covered with other content creators, including me. I was on one of the videos. I'm sorry anyone who had to click that video.
I
was there.
guess. I think I have one. I guess I would ask, when will I actually get like a buff female character that is in the main lineup of Scions? This it's such a weirdly specific thing. It could be a Femmurgaden because Femmurgaden are the best and I love them. But like I love all our girls, but I'm tired of these waifish little ladies. Not to say that Ishtola is not like so powerful that she could crush me as soon as look at me, like she definitely could. And I love our female characters, but I just want like a real powerhouse of a woman who is just like a super, physical fight focused kind of character that like has just as much depth as other characters and is taken really seriously and also is somebody that I really come to love in the game because like it always feels like those characters kind of get shuffled off and like many of the Rugadan women we know. I know, and I just like I think this would be a great opportunity with Endwalker.
So really, your question would be more of an offer for new female NPC consultation services, and would just run it through a list.
character.
Okay, would I want this character to step on me? Yes or no?
I mean, yes, yes, you know me. So if that character could step on me, then great. But like really specifically, like a buff woman. I want to see like a buff woman all up in this lineup. And that would be my big thing. Either that or I would ask, like, can we actually get real straight up for realsies, like LGBT representation in the game? They're not like that frivolous, but
not like beating around the bush, like actual straight up come out and be like, hey, this character.
They are canonically together and they are a prominent character and not just like the NPCs for the side quests, which are great, but like actually having that be like a real thing. Yes. It would be one of those things for me, I think.
That'd be cool.
That's a good one.
I'm with that question completely because the love of my life got killed off in A Realm Reborn, and I've never loved anyone in this fucking game again. That's it. All your waifus are trash. You stole her? Trash. I've been waiting for her to die. Every time she's died, I've cheered.
It hurts me
Yes,
inside.
hate me.
Oh
hate
my
me.
gosh.
They killed off mine. I want them to kill off yours.
They're never going to kill off Tartaru. Too
Oh,
useful.
could you imagine
I mean,
killing off? I'm gonna make an Avengers reference because of course I am.
Yeah.
Killing Tataru off would be like when they killed Coulson off. That would
Yeah,
be
we
like the okay.
Yeah.
We're not messing around anymore. This is
We're
it.
serious.
it would devastate me. It would
They
devastate
wouldn't be
me.
able to afford anything then because nobody would finance anything and everything would go. So no revenge would happen because nobody would be able to plan anything because the only one. That plans stuff-
there'd be even more desperation than behind that need for revenge.
Pure revenge.
So she is on the cover art right at the start, front and start, and star position.
Like honestly, like it's a different grade because that question is in like limbo, and I'm never going to say it because that would discreet me as a person. I would say discreet me as a person, but a lot of you will find out how truly weird I am. But the main greed question I would like is that can my character have neon green eyes that glow? Because I love green, and I want neon green eyes that glow.
I just want my character to look like they've maybe been standing in some nuclear waste for a little too long.
Yeah, or have tasted chaos.
But we must
Cool.
kill chaos.
No, I am chaos. Green chaos.
I mean, I guess if I had to ask a question, like a stupid, selfish question, this is as probably as selfish as you can get. I just want like a mansion-sized house in the Pike, that big giant dragoon statue out in Corthus, and I just want to live there. Just me. Nobody else can do it. That's just my house.
Can my character live as a hobo in the pipe?
Oh my god.
And little bedspread, little.
There's no other place where you could reasonably do this guy are sick cosplay reenactment.
Look, I'm a Lalafell.
No, nobody.
Can they sell
Did that
shoebox
just-
houses as fashion as like housing items so that I can have at my own house inside
Did that
someone
just
else's
go over
house?
everybody's head?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that
Nobody did
reference.
that.
Sorry, Fusion. I have no idea what you were talking about.
In FF7 in Midgar. There's like this
Ah.
guy that like lives in like this kind of weird like rundown looking pipey metal house thing, and there was a translation error and it says this guy are sick.
Oh yeah, the
I've
one that
never played
in the
that other
slums,
Final
right?
Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, and then he disappears later on for some reason.
I've only
I
played
tried.
from 13 and up.
Don't worry, Fusion. I made a reference about Moogle making out in the night. that's just why I could put it.
What?
Remember the Fantasy 7 mini game where you gotta feed the Moogle?
I don't.
Why does nobody else but me remember this mini game? It was in the
I
Gold
mean, Chili, I
Saucer.
don't know what you're looking up on a Saturday night.
have
but-
never spent a lot of time in the Gold Saucer.
Okay, in the Gold Saucer. I'm going to go there again. Go check out the ERP episode, everyone. No, actually, don't go check that out. It's really lewd. There's a Gold Saucer mini game, right, where a Moogle wants to impress a lady, but he doesn't know how to fly. So what you got to do is you got to feed the Moogle
Okay,
Koopa
this is
nuts,
yeah.
and then after you've fed them enough Koopa nuts, they'll learn how to fly. But if you overfeed
I
them,
remember
they'll
this
just
now.
fall on the floor because they've got a big belly. And then later on, he's trying to teach his
like me.
kids because they've met, had babies, and now he's trying to teach the kids, but he wants you to remind him how to fly, so you got to feed him Koopa nuts again. I think you have to
Damn,
feed
he
him
really
slightly
knows
less
what to
that time.
Yeah. I remember that now. Yeah.
Okay.
You're not alone. I do remember.
Oh,
I
thank
can
God.
confirm that was a thing that did exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chili does not look like a crazed mental asylum patient. So there you go, chat.
No, that's still doing.
I mean, he still might. He's just not wrong.
Look, the episode is called Moogle Breading. Okay.
Breading.
Oh boy.
Get that bread. Gotta get that bread.
Did you play 7 at all, Rook?
I just played Remake. I played 7 when it was like when I was super young. My dad played it and I watched, but I barely remember anything about it. So I came back with the remake, and I want to go back and actually play the original. But 8 is really the one where like I remember and I was
Yeah.
obsessed with it, and like I just have very faint memories of 7.
Anyone excited for the possible? Have you seen the rumors of 9 remake next year?
I've seen that, and I am furious that they're skipping right over 8.
I know. Like, I want a remake for 8 so bad, but 9 is like, I mean, I will take it. I will absolutely take it.
We did get there's that Renoa cinematic from Brave Exvius that came out this week with her and Angelo. We'll just have to
so beautiful.
that's what we get. We just get that little 10-second battle animation, I guess. That's for the FF8 fans.
okay, that's
Meanwhile,
what Final
9 will get a remake and a cartoon.
I don't think the remake of
so
9 is going
what's
to look
9?
anything like that CGI. I think that CGI is probably going to be a lot better than the remake is going to be for 9.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just going to be a hastier upper of the original. I don't think that much effort is going to be put into it. Oh,
We'll
could be
see.
wrong.
What?
I mean, there are a
What?
couple
If it's even
games that
real.
are. Yeah, there's a couple games in the Final Fantasy lineup that I honestly think the stories are so incredible. Like 6 and 9 come to mind, right? Like where the stories are so fantastic that if they were willing to put that investment in and reintroduce them to new audiences, I think there would be like a huge surge in popularity for those titles. But it's just about taking that risk and like whether or not they want to put it out there because they, like are and aren't as well known. Like people who played them are like, yes, these are amazing games, but they aren't oftentimes the ones that you hear about like first on people's lips about Final Fantasy, unless there's somebody who's played them and really liked them. It's just that they kind of got like overshadowed by other ones in the lineup for a little while.
Well, it probably doesn't help for the older people like me who, when Final Fantasy did come out here for the first time, 7 was just the first game that came out here. There was no 1 to 6 until after 7. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, 7 was the introduction to Final Fantasy in Europe.
That's wild. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 6 came with a demo of 10. That's how late we got 6. So,
Oh my gosh.
7, 8, 9.
yeah, it was like 7 came out. They're like, oh, well, it sells well. Then 8 came out. Oh, it's really selling well. Okay, let's release 1 and 2. And everyone was like, so there was 1 and 2? And when I was young, I just thought they were like being like really like strange and be like, oh, we're going to call it 7 because there's so many of something in this. That's why it's 7.
If I remember right, too, I think you guys also got 1 and 2 digital for PSP. We didn't get that here.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got digital PSP.
So there were you got some stuff that we didn't get. So
But,
if that makes me feel any better.
we might eventually, if rumors are true, we might finally be getting Chrono Cross for the first time ever next year if the remake is true. That's the first release officially in Europe.
Well, I mean, you can also still buy like Chrono Cross new from Square. So
Yeah.
it's not like that one's hard to get a hold of.
Well, in North America. It was never officially released here. So, as I said, it's like, but no, Final Fantasy 1 to... I'm going through the... Because I only played... Because I was young at the time, and I was like, oh, graphics, that's all I care about. So I only played... I know that sounds like much when I'm talking about 7, and everyone who plays it like, oh my god, those graphics are horrible. But back in the day, it's like, oh my god, these are amazing. So I had trouble going back to 1 to 6. So I never played 1 to 6. So I'm actually going through them with the remasters for the first time. So when 5 comes out, it'll be my first time playing 5.
Yeah, I mean, I was
6.
around when each one came out. I was just 1 because like I was born the same year that Final Fantasy came out, so I am as old as Final Fantasy. Nice.
Me too.
Okay. Yeah.
1987,
So
right?
you get yep.
Yep.
87.
Way. January. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get up to this age and you kind of look back, you're like, oh yeah, I could play those, but they're like older games now. They don't look as good.
I like going over by anniversaries. Like, it's Final Fantasy 35. That means I am also 35. Thanks, video game.
Then you're like, oh, I'm 35 now.
I remember turning 18 in Texas. That was fun. Yeah. I miss America. I really do. Oh, no, I'm not Miss America, by the way. I just miss visiting America.
Yeah, Chili's Miss America. Let's go.
Here she comes.
Congratulations! I'm so proud of you. You won it this year.
Okay, I have to ask now. I have to ask Chili, what did you do for the talent portion?
I raided 24 hours. On 2 PC. No, 8 I was raiding the whole pie was me.
He's just on like a little stool spinning around, just like hitting all the keyboards.
No, I'm a controller player, remember? I have 2 controllers. No, I have 3 controllers, right? So I have 4 DPS, that's 1 controller. I have 2 tanks, that's another controller, and 2 healers, that's another controller. And I had to ruin my party by having all the DPS be the same job so I could have the same button combinations with the same controller. Yeah,
So he's
I
just
could
got
get my limit break.
like 8 of those Xbox accessibility controllers and just like a wad of cables and accessories.
All plugged into my multi-tap.
There you go. God, I remember multi-taps. Oh man, we're
Talk about
old.
old games.
Stop
Remember
making me feel old.
Remember that 9 actually had multiplayer?
What?
Yeah, you could play 9 in co-op. Did you know that? Yeah. If you go into the
I don't know if I
settings, you can change. It's not a complete co-op game, but you know the battle system. You could change the. You could change it so that 2 party members use the different controller. So you could have 2 people be two people in the other 2. So
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Learn something new every day.
I think there was another one that also had it. I can't remember which one, but I just remember that 9 had offline co-op. Anyway, we're running
10
really
almost
late
had
today.
online integration.
What was it? What was the one that was? It was 9, wasn't it? Where Play Online came out. Was it 9 around
Yeah.
the same time?
So
the
yeah,
guide
they
was
were
just-
they were working on Play Online when 9 came out, and so half of the guide was use this keyword on Play Online, and then early if you Google it, you could probably find the early closed doors off screen camera footage of FF10 that actually had online Play Online integration where they had an online strategy guide, and that was scrapped, but if you remember the main menu for FF10 still said Play Online at the top when it came out.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's why.
That's interesting. I know that Dirge of Cerberus had a multiplayer online mode in Japan, but it didn't got.
Yeah, they
that.
sure did, but not over here.
I mean, in Europe, we didn't even get Final Fantasy 11 on PS2, so.
Yeah, well, eventually you did. It took a while, though.
No, I don't think. No, because we never got the hard drive.
Oh, on PS2.
Yeah. No, I imported my PC copy for a stupid amount of money.
Trying to think, they localized it. I think was that with Ottergon?
I don't know.
If I remember
I
that right,
imported
where they
day
had
1 from PC
French
from
and German
America.
support for. Okay.
I imported day 1 from America, which at the time the shop charged me £100 for the PC version,
Gosh.
which was $200 because £1 was $2 at the time.
Oh,
So
you really wanted to play 11.
I really wanted to play 11. Well, I guess we should start. As I said, we've gone late for once. It's been fun talking. Thank you so much, Fusionx and Rook, for joining us.
Yeah.
Which means it's starting in 40 minutes, right?
What's that? Yeah, Mushroom Radio starting 40.
Our usual time when we talk with Americans is usually about 12:01 we start. That's why I was thinking about that.
Well, and the time zone changes and daylight savings and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
One last question. What's half
What
an hour
even
ago?
is time?
I know. It's like when you get a bunch of podcasters and content creators together, we can just ramble basically for all time forever.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, this week
That's why we end up
confused
talking about Transformers for 20 minutes.
me. This week confused the hell out of me because I was like, I was planning it. I was like, okay, Rook, can you be here at 11? And then I contacted Fusion. Fusion was like, I'm going to be half a bit late, so it's okay. Can we have... I'm like, okay, so the podcast is going to start half an hour late. So that's fine. We can do that. And then the time zone changed. I'm like, wait, no. We're going to start an hour early, but half an hour late. But that's still half an hour early. So I'm like, did we late or early?
You're like busting out the calculator. It's like, how do we do this with the numbers? I don't carry the one.
Like, if Chili didn't message me, I would literally come at like 11:30, and then I would be like, oh, okay. Where'd everyone go? Oh, we've done the podcast. Oh, shit. My
You
bad.
say that, but it's now 12:30, so.
Yeah, there you go. Work the game has it right.
Pre-post show.
Yeah, pre-post show, post-show, post-post show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talking Go Round, the Moogle Go Round post show.
But anyway, Fusion, have you got any shout outs and where can they see your content and any like contact information and stuff?
I mean, obviously, the big one for me is Gamer Escape. I'm sure most people have heard of it by now. If you haven't, gamerescape.com. We do a Final Fantasy 14 podcast that also sometimes does tangents, but it's mostly a really, really great Final Fantasy 14 podcast. Eighth Rate Radio. That's every Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. Again, twitch.tv/gamerscape for that. All my personal stuff is at Roffelderg, ROFLDRG. Shout out to Rook. She's got some cool lore videos. If you're into that kind of thing, make sure to go check that out. And yeah.
Rook. What's up?
Yes, hello. I am Rook, aka currently Bird of Chess.
Yay.
Chess, like the board game that you play. No T on the end, just chess. I'm a broadcaster with a focus on Final Fantasy 14 and Guild Wars 2. I was really, really excited, as we mentioned here, to be a part of the media tour this year and did coverage over on my YouTube. but you can also catch me live on Twitch. It has been a wild month. I've had a lot of stuff that I've been doing and a convention guest appearance and other projects I'm flying out for and all kinds of things. So, scheduling has been a bit wild, but as we get into Endwalker here, there's going to be a ton of streams and a ton of stuff happening, so I'd love to see anybody who's around. I would love to do a shout out for Fusionx, who some of you may know, may not know, I don't know. But Fusion's also an amazing content creator and works so hard on Aetheryte Radio, the Final Fantasy XIV podcast with Gamerscape that I get to
I
co-host.
already brought
too.
you on the show. You're already a permanent host. You don't need to suck up to me anymore. It's okay.
Still, shout out to Fusion. And shout out to both of you. Thank you so much, Paul and Chili, for having me here today. And as a little note, I'm going to repeat again, I am going through a rebrand, so next week all of my channel stuff will be changed, and it will be Rookery, Rookuri. But hopefully you can still find me, and it'll be great to get that all finally done, because it's been a long work in progress.
By the way, I was so happy to see Brooke Scar was doing content with you, because I know her from Tasty Peach and Riss.
Yes, she's wonderful. She actually edited the old Charlian video and the Garlemald video, and we have more lore videos in the works. So she was so fantastic to work with, and she is so very good at like visual storytelling. So I was really excited. I had reached out to her a while back, and we just finally got to get some projects out over the media tour, because she's come on and is going to be doing regular work with the channel. So she's awesome. She's so sweet.
Big shout out to Brooke Scar, wonderful person. Paul, have you got anything you want to say before we start wrapping up?
I'm Paul. Don't do much content. Not one of those big guys, as these three are.
No, I'm not.
I just sit here.
I'm nowhere near as big
I
as
just
these
sit-
two.
I've just been sitting here holding a pee in for the last 40 minutes. So content, yeah. Thank you to the two guests coming on and literally doing my job for me. I didn't have to do anything today, mainly on my phone again. It was great. But yeah, thank you guys for coming on, and I can't wait to see your rebranding as well, Rook.
Thanks.
We just did ours for Gamerscape. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to go check that out.
Yeah.
We got our new logo.
And I hope-
We got a new site coming.
Yeah, and I can't wait to use it when I want to do my fishing and stuff.
It's gonna be so good for fishing.
It is. You don't know how many times I've gone on there and be like, okay, so
If
that
you just want like a giant list of fish, we got you covered.
Oh, good. I'm a bit fishy today. But yeah, other than that, thank you. Yeah, I got much else. I stream on this channel, obviously, weekends. Yeah.
I'd like to shout out to Paul as always, thank you. I'd like to shout out to both my guests. It was lovely chatting with you both. You were saying, it was great until I'm like, oh God, it's going to be like, oh my God, I don't want to be on this show again. I'm like, oh, thank God. That you didn't say that. Thank you so much for joining me as always. But no, I will remember that we do have some big events coming up. Tomorrow's the live letter, so we'll be covering it with Maelstrom Radio live. So go check that out tomorrow at night during the live stream, so as you can watch us talk about stuff as it happens. And also we've got the Extra Life Dungeon Rally on Saturday, where we'll be racing against other content creators to raise money for Extra Life. Thanks again to Square Enix for the donations of 6 copies of Pharmacy 14 Complete Edition to give away. So we're giving away free PC Complete Editions and free PS4 Complete Editions. So make sure you tune up for that. So yeah, 2 big major events coming up soon. So thank you so much.
Extra Life just creeped right up on us. I didn't even realize it was. Jeez.
Yeah,
When it was, we did it. Was it last month or?
Yeah, we did one last month.
Yeah,
and
the
we
month
won.
we did one.
Yeah, hashtag pay to win, where we.
Yeah, because we had bigger wallets.
Yeah, we see the
But
dungeon
I
rally
don't
is
because
the dungeon rally is where we race against other content creators, but you can pay to add time to other content creators. And then we found out one of the content creators paid to remove time on their channel, so we just flooded their account. Theirs to we did it for the children, and also had to add 30 minutes to their time so that we beat them.
But we did it for the children. We did it for the children,
Clearly, for the children,
for the kids,
for the children.
Oh,
You know.
for the kids,
Hashtag pay to win, or
Yeah,
pay to win.
Pay to win.
This has
Unfortunately, people that will hear that podcast, it would already be done
Yeah, this will go live next week. So it's already happened.
because it
But
goes
still.
live Wednesday next week. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
don't know what time. But for the people on Twitch, come follow us at twitch.tv/Moogle Around, where you can watch all this live. It's Moogle Around Radio, not Moogle Around Radio. Go add the radio, even though we
Also
don't do anything
remember-
radio.
if you've been enjoying my playthrough of Voice of Cards, It's been split up into parts on YouTube, and I'm slowly adding it to there. So go check out our YouTube channel for more voice of card stuff.
And make
hopefully
sure
I'll
to
do that
stick
more in
around
future.
after Moogle Go Round for Talking Go Round, the post show.
Anyway, we're gonna end this now. We're at 1 hour and 44 minutes, and we normally aim for an hour, so we're a little bit above our normal.
What do you mean? I'm on 1 hour and 54 minutes.
That's because we had the pre-show.
Ah,
Anyway, follow me, MG_G. We're back in 2 weeks, I think, and that's our last podcast until December. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.